Hola, soy Alejandra y bienvenidos a The Spanish Point. If you are starting your journey learning Spanish, there are a few notions that I would like to share with you. Some ideas that is important to check out when you are beginning to learn a new language, in this case, the Spanish language. Let's start talking about the main form of the verb in Spanish. It is called the infinitive or el infinitivo, and this will be the equivalent in English to the main form too. To be, to eat, to go. No, it's the form that isn't conjugated. In Spanish, all the verbs belong to one of three categories. The verbs ending in AR, like hablar, bailar, cantar, verbs ending in ER, like comer, beber, tener, and verbs ending in IR, like vivir, oír, sentir. So every verb will belong to one of these three categories. When we are going to learn a new tense, what we do is eliminate those endings AR, ER, and IR, and whatever is left in the verb, that will be the stem you are going to use, and to that you are going to add the endings of each tense. For example, if we have here bailar, we eliminate the AR and we are left with bail. And to that, we are going to add the endings for the present, the endings for the credit, for the imperfect, etc. So that is the way we form the tenses in Spanish. So keep in mind the idea of the infinitive because you are going to be hearing a lot about it. Next, I want to talk a little bit about the moods in Spanish. No, the Spanish is divided into moods, which in turn are subdivided into one or more tenses. Okay, and the word mood is just a variation of mode, meaning manner or way. Okay, and basically the mood just indicates the attitude of the person who is speaking, the attitude towards what they are saying. Okay, so there are three moods in Spanish. The first one is the most common one, is the modo indicativo or indicative mood. And this one is the one that we use to talk about facts, about things that are true, that we know for sure, that we are certain. The modo indicativo is more objective. Okay, and most tenses that we learn belong to this mood: present, predicate, imperfect, future, conditional. Most of them belong to this modo indicativo. The second one is the modo subjuntivo or subjunctive mood. And here is one of the big differences between English and Spanish, because the subjunctive mood is a big thing in the Spanish language. And we use the subjunctive mood to express an attitude or feeling towards the action of the verb. No? While the modo indicativo is objective to talk about facts, the subjunctive mood is more subjective. We use it to express our opinions, our emotions towards what we are saying. Then the third one is the modo imperativo, and the imperative mood is just the commands. Okay, commands or mandatos in Spanish that we use to give direct orders to someone, and there are different types of commands. We have affirmative and negative, and we have formal and informal commands. So these are the three moods in Spanish: indicative, subjunctive, and imperative. Now, let's just review basic concepts that I'm sure you know, but just to refresh a little bit. A subject pronoun, no? Is a pronoun that we use as the subject of the verb, and in Spanish, the subject pronouns are yo, tú, él, ella, usted, nosotros, nosotras, vosotros, ustedes, ellos, ellas. Okay, so the subject pronouns are divided in the person speaking, this will be the first person, the person spoken to, the second person, and the person spoken about, that will be the third person. Okay. Another difference between Spanish and English. In Spanish, we don't have a translation for the it that we use in English. we basically don't use it. Instead, in Spanish, we use the verb conjugated in the third person singular. For example, if we want to say it rains, we just say llueve. We just use the conjugation of the third person singular of the verb llover, to rain. Okay, so no translation for it. Now, another important thing to know when you are learning Spanish is how important the idea of gender, number, but mainly gender, is. It is at the very core of the Spanish language because every word in Spanish is feminine or masculine. It's easy to identify when we're talking about living creatures. It's easy to know if it's feminine or masculine, right? And usually nouns ending in O are masculine and nouns ending in A are feminine. But this is just for living creatures. When we're talking about objects, we're talking about things, we're talking about any other things, we also have to think of the idea of gender, if this word is feminine or is masculine. Okay, so that is very important. Also, number, no? Nouns in Spanish can be either singular or plural, and the adjective in Spanish also can be singular or plural. Okay, so all this takes me to the idea of agreement, which is a concept that I always tell my students. This is one thing that when you are learning Spanish, you have to keep in mind: agreement. There's not only agreement between the subject and the verb, but in Spanish, there is agreement between the noun, the adjective, and the noun that is describing. And if the adjective, the noun is singular and masculine, then the adjective have to be singular and masculine. So this sometimes requires just a little bit of practice and getting used to this idea that when we form a sentence, we have to pay attention to the agreement of all the words, that they agree in number and in gender. Also, talking about adjective, we know that adjectives are words that we use to describe a noun. No, and the big difference in English and Spanish is that the adjective have to agree in gender and number with the noun they are describing. Adverbs are similar to adjective and also provide more information in a sentence by modifying, describing another word. Adverbs usually answer questions such as how, where, when, how often, and how much. So, adjective and adverbs are two other terms that we are going to be hearing when we are learning Spanish. The same happens with a conjunction. Conjunctions are pretty much linkers, words that we use to join two different parts of a sentence or two different sentences. And we have two different kinds of conjunctions in Spanish. The most common one are the coordinating conjunctions, for example, pero, o, y, entonces, ni, and pues. And the second group are the subordinate conjunctions, and some of them are que, which is one of the most common, mientras, cuando, donde, como, porque, apenas. These are just some examples. There are many, many more. But those are conjunctions. Those are the words that we use to link two parts of a sentence or two different sentences. Also, prepositions, right? A preposition is a word used to establish relationship between nouns and verbs, and between different parts of a sentences. In Spanish, the prepositions are invariable. They never change, okay? And they could be a little bit tricky. Don't assume that a preposition in English is going to be the same in Spanish. In fact, sometimes some verbs that need a preposition in English don't need a preposition in Spanish. Okay. Another important thing to know is that the placement of the preposition doesn't change in Spanish. For example, we will never find a preposition in Spanish placed at the end of a sentence. No? The prepositions always will be after the sorry. The prepositions will be after followed by the infinitive of a verb. And this is a rule that is always good to learn since the beginning. If you have a preposition, the only way the verb can be conjugated is, well, not conjugated, basically is going to be in the infinitive, the main form. Some of the common prepositions in Spanish are a, con, de, desde, entre, hacia, etc. There are many. Okay, so these are just a few concepts that I wanted to go over. You know, when we buy a book to start learning Spanish or when we start a class, these are terms and notions that we are going to be constantly hearing about. And last, I'm giving you here just a list of useful phrases when we are studying this process of learning Spanish, just words that are going to be useful to learn and we can start using from the beginning. ¿No? We have cuánto, cuántos, cuántas veces al día, cuántas veces a la semana, to talk about how many times per day, per week. Cada cuánto, how often, mucho o muchas, a lot, many, un poco, just a little, quién, who, qué, what, dónde, where, cuándo, when. And to talk about the moment of the day, we use the preposition por la mañana, por la tarde, por la noche. Pronto means soon, ahora, now, or ahorita, which is the colloquial form that we use all the time to say right away. I'm doing this right now, ahorita. And then we have aquí, here, allí, there, mejor, better, peor, worse. Important phrases like no sé, I don't know, no estoy seguro, I'm not sure, or just no entiendo, ¿no? Repite, por favor, no entiendo. So I hope you find this useful. You can follow me and look at other videos that I will be posting with more information about the process of learning Spanish, and also I will be talking a little bit about culture and of course about grammar, practices, exercises, and all that. So see you next time. Bye.